All right. Thank you. Carry on, please. Join us. This is the committee meeting of the Town Council. Try again. Can you hear me at the back? You hear me now? Yes. Let me know if it gets echoing, because I know it gets annoying. So thank you all for joining us. This is the Finance Committee of the Town Council at 7 PM on Thursday, the 12th of January. Just before we start, please, please stop interrupting. I'm just going to say this now. It's not going to make me popular. As far as meetings go, these meetings are for councillors. And if people start interrupting, that includes the public, I'm afraid, unless it's public question time, I will either ask that person to leave or I will close the meeting. If I didn't, I'd be a hypocrite after the events that happened before Christmas. So please bear with me and understand why I have to do what I have to do. Let's let this meeting run. We've got half an hour. We've got an event tonight. Let's get it done. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So item 1 on the agenda. Item 1 on the agenda. Apologies for absence.
Eccles, Wilson and Pringle, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Declaration of interest. Minutes to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of November. Subcommittees. Finance subcommittee on 10th of November. Payments of accounts. Item 6, printing from councillors. So this is an item that I put on the agenda. It has become apparent over well, a few months back now. We put a signing in, signing out sheet for stationery. It has become apparent that councillors are taking printing supplies, 2 or 3 a month. We only have, I think it's 8 meetings every 2 months.
4 every 6 weeks.
4 every 6 weeks, nowhere near. So 4 every 6 weeks, there's no reason for that amount of printing. Yeah. I propose that councillors, if they want anything printed, they come into the office and the office staff print that for them. Can anyone second me on that, please? I will second on that. All in favour? Not in favour?
Yeah, just a minute.
Not including when you need it, like you, Pete. Yeah. It's someone taking ink out of the community centre to use in their own printers. Not in favour? I'm just abstaining, yeah.
I put my hand up.
No, I'm just saying to John. Asbestos survey. This is just for Alan to report on where we are with that one.
Sorry, 7.
Because I circled it when I got to it. Citizens advice 2023-24. So this is in regards to the rise in the fees that they're going to charge
They
us.
charge 3,500 normally. They've proposed an increase of 10% to 3,850, Madam Chair. I have included that in the draft budget, but it's up to members if you want to keep that service on.
I'm going to take into consideration here that yes, we have got people using it, and also the fact that transport services in the area are getting better as quick as we'd like them to, and it's used by people of all generations as well. I propose we keep it and accept the raise. Definitely. Yeah. All in favour? Now we'll do the asbestos survey. Item 8.
Just to make members aware, Madam Chair, the council's health and safety consultant recommended that an asbestos survey be done on all council properties. So in the next couple of months, I'll be arranging that.
Does everyone hear that? Okay. I think your voice is quite deep, but it's really hard to hear on the microphone. So the council's health and safety consultant has recommended that we do asbestos surveys on all council properties. And Alan recommends that we go forward with that. I'll propose it. All in favour? Okay, next one is item 9, budget for 23-24. If you want.
Is my voice that deep? Is it Barry White?
It's worth.
Better without the mic.
I think it's probably my problem.
I did circulate a draft budget based on a 3% increase on the preset, Madam Chair. As I mentioned to yourself previously, Madam Chair, the purpose of the agenda item tonight is just to get a general steer from the committee as to whether you think that's in the right direction, whether you think 3% is acceptable, should it be 2, should it be 1, should it be 0, should it be a cut? I just need a general steer from members tonight so I can go away again and if need be, rejig the budget. In between time over the next few weeks, I'm happy to meet with members individually or as a group to thrash out any details so that at the council meeting on the 2nd of February, the council can then approve the budget. So I need a steer, Madam Chair, from the committee. What do you find acceptable? The one thing I would remind members of, the big cost increase from the current year for all future years was that increase in pay for all staff, apart from managers, which was in the region of £40,000. Obviously, that's an ongoing cost. So I would recommend a small increase, so say 2%, but I need a steer tonight from the committee as to whether you think that's acceptable. And if it's not acceptable, then what would you want?
So I've had a look at the budget, there's loads of questions to ask about it. Alan's answered some of them. Me and Maxine are going to meet with Alan in the coming weeks to discuss that. Personally, I wouldn't want to put the preset up. Realistically, I think with the situation that we're in, unfortunately, we're going to have to do that. Now, 3.5% for even the highest tax band in this area works out an extra £4 per household. So a year. So we're not talking crazy money, it's £4 a month.
A year.
A year. Sorry, I do apologise. It has been a long day.
£4 a month for you.
£4, yeah, I'll pay £4 a month. Everyone else can do £4 a year.
That's good.
So yeah, £4 a year. Other options we'd have to take into consideration. Alan and I have sort of thrashed this out a bit. We could be looking at charging more for other things. We could be looking at car park charges. To
We need
me,
to bring car parking back anyway.
for people outside.
Yes.
But as far as I'm concerned, I think as much as I don't want to do it, I don't want to hand over a unrealistic budget to the next council that starts in May. So I would suggest 3.5%.
I think it sounds.
I think it sounds sensible, that, doesn't it?
Not we want to go there.
I really don't for now, but
Well, when you look at it anyway, we've got no reserves left. After
We have
this
got
year.
reserves
So we
left,
might as
yeah.
well, we're gonna have to do something,
Yeah, definitely.
just get ourselves back on even.
Yeah. We have got reserves left, we've got 460.
No, we haven't. To do.
Be quiet.
right, go on.
We've got £467,000 in reserves, and we've got £290,000 in current account to keep us going to 31st of March. I would suggest that we'll have about 200,000 left on 31st of March. So the increase that Alan's suggesting of 41,000 can come out to what we've got left from next year.
It's a maturing
From
cost.
last year.
So can I use that this year? Just 1 minute, Maxine. So we'll use that this year, and then what about next year and the year after? We can't keep dipping every year back in, because all you're going to do is put yourself £40,000 deficit every year, Maxine.
Right, it's saying this, right, I'm not being funny, but until March, we've still got bills to pay, we've still got wages to pay. This £290,000 he keeps spouting off about, it's got to pay our bills, or we don't get pay wages. Right, so what we've got £237,000 in reserves, what we need to save in that reserves, that is what is supposed to stay in them reserves. And then we've got £230,000 in another reserve, in another bank. That £230,000, we've got £54,000 to pay on the paths, what they want doing. And then we've got £14,000 what we have to pay on the freezer they want doing. And then there's £108,000 to find from somewhere. And there's £108,000 to find from somewhere to pay for this eating at the water park. Now you tell me what he wants us to do, because I haven't got a clue anymore.
Thank you, Maxine, that's very good. So I propose we increase it by 3.5%. Does anyone want to second it?
This is only a steering, we're gonna tell, we've got.
We still have to vote on it though, don't we? So what's the we're giving you?
No, we're not.
But I'm just putting facts out. I'm putting the facts out.
The vote tonight is just to give me a steer.
Yeah.
So we're voting to give you, it's not a vote. so
You've got to vote on the
But
budget.
it's telling everybody we've got it all in reserves and we
No,
haven't.
so what we're saying is, I'm proposing that we have to increase because we haven't got any money.
Exactly.
Right. So does anyone want to second me, please?
Yeah, I'll say.
I just want to just make a point. Inflation at the moment is 10%.
And it might go up even more in CPI.
Inflation can come down, and to propose a 3.5%, which is £3.88 per household, I think is very reasonable.
Very, thank you.
Okay,
So
so,
I will second.
right, I've got a second, all in favour?
Unrealistic.
What's that?
No,
What's coming out?
Yes.
What's that?
So just vote, I think, we're giving a steer on the 3.5%.
I'm against, we've got.
Well, I'm against chair because it's like.
You can say you're against.
Yeah, I'm against it.
Right, so for discussion, now we're voting, we're moving on. So that one's done. Got all those. Next one, public question time. I am gonna have to keep to the 15 minutes on this today, just because we've got the event later on today. So if you can switch with your questions, if we can't answer them, we'll take them away.
You've just actually approved the spending for the November accounts. I've actually raised something with Mr. Draper regarding a payment to your security, fire and security for an additional body cam and docking station. And he does actually state one. Just one for the water park. I've not asked who that additional body cam is for, but I asked for the make and model number. Because when I gone and looked for one additional body cam and docking station, it doesn't come, there isn't anything that comes in at the value of £3,889.34.
So are you still, is that your question? You're still waiting on the
Yes, so
answer?
I'm actually saying to you that have signed the accounts up.
No, so
to
just
pay
to be
that.
clear, what we've just signed off is the accounts that needed paying.
Yeah,
So
so
anything,
that's being paid.
no, so this is anything that has come.
This body cam came as a quote to the council.
No, we're just gonna, just to confirm what we've just signed off now, was that there, yeah? We've just given the,
The November account.
yeah, it's not, that body cam went on there.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
Yes.
not what you just showed me.
No, that was found still before me.
Okay,
That was January.
so we were signing that in house, okay,
So
sorry.
this body cam came to council a few months ago now.
And if we're gonna,
The quote was approved.
And this is what I'm saying
Well,
to
well,
you.
there was
What
not.
I'm saying to you
Was not
is, and I've looked on the police, where the police get the body cam. And one body cam and one docking station, it doesn't include the monitor, comes in at £715.
just confirm, Kathy, have you got the answer back that you've asked
No,
for? Right,
Mr. Draper.
so that's the question now.
Yeah, Mr. Draper would not give me the make and model so that I can
Right.
check, but what I'm saying to you, has any of you checked that you're happy at paying £3,889.34 for one body cam and one docking station? Because to me, that is very, very expensive.
Right, Alan, do you want to apply for it?
Yeah, it's, just to repeat, it came to council a few months ago now. There's one, we now have two body cams. One is for one officer, herself, and the staff. I'm not going to break any confidences here, but I think it's a fair point. The staff in the summer in the park get quite a bit of abuse. Told to F this and go that and that kind of thing. And the difference in people's attitude when there's a body cam there is stark. Quite literally, 1 minute they'll be effing and blinding, they see the body cam and they're all sweet and some lights. So the staff asked the council if the council were willing to purchase a second body cam and docking station and all the paraphernalia needed to go with it. And that would be a floating body cam. So if in the summer there's some trouble in the park, one of them can get the floating, not literally floating, obviously, floating body cam, pop it on and go out and sort out whatever trouble was there. The quote came to the council a few months ago. I forget exactly when, but it was approved. It was in one of my reports. Kathy did ask about a few details about the make and model. I'm happy to be overruled by the council, but the body cam is a security item. I'm not an IT person, but I would assume that once the make and model's out there, someone would know the software. If they know the software, we could potentially do things with it. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Let me finish, Kathy, but that was my rationale.
Right.
I'm happy to be corrected on that, so I'm not an IT expert.
Unfortunately, maths,
I think it's
I'm blind in every science.
no, it's maths as well.
Can we just,
Everybody counts, there's only 15 on.
can we get the meetings? What's this now? Because apparently it came to council and we approved it. Yeah, can we just confirm that? If we approved it, we approved it. Because not much work. So
We're not costing,
well, that's what we'll confirm.
we're just that, we're.
Yeah, imagine it were recorded anyway, so
Body cam.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
it just appeared.
we'll get them answers.
I have.
Big
questioning.
Are they
Yeah.
admissible
Yeah,
at
we'll be
court?
talking about it.
By the way, are they admissible at court, these body cams they've got?
It's only like a phone ring.
Question at a time, so sorry, just not sure. I haven't, I'm just asking, I'm right behind you, not to interrupt you.
Don't interrupt me.
Right, what's your question, sorry?
Are these body cams admissible in court?
Yes,
Are they
Sorry,
legit?
but I will let you know that if no court procedures within 30 days, they have to be removed. They have to be deleted, but they never are.
Great.
Right, next question, sorry, gentleman with the glasses on his head?
Yeah.
This way first.
Sorry.
I can't see hands properly, it's,
When you've got them body cams on, do you tell people that you're recording?
They're supposed
Yeah,
to.
there's
It's
a
law.
label, I think that.
Don't
They have to
actually tell them.
Yeah,
They don't.
The person must tell them that it's recording.
It's supposed
If they
to.
don't, then they'll be in trouble.
they've got signs on them and they are.
It's not the sign.
Say to them,
Supposed to
well,
go.
where I'm recording you.
Yeah.
Even the police officer has
Yeah.
to tell you
Yeah,
that it's recording you.
it's against law not to tell you.
They have to
Yeah.
tell you, so they must do that.
Thank you. So we confirmed, we confirmed we have been trained, thank you. Any more questions related to finance? Yes, go on, I couldn't see you at the back, sorry.
I hope you can hear me. I came here in November to ask you about reserves.
Mhm.
I've checked through all the minutes that have been issued this year, and there's no mention of any money, any amount being transferred from reserve. Yes, you've made decisions, there's no values in any of the minutes, there's no mention of any reserve. Can we please have a statement published on the council website to tell us opening balance, what's been agreed, what's going to come out of reserves, and a forecast for opening balance?
Is that something we can do?
that's been the same.
Please send the minutes. Thank you. Any more questions? Oh, hi, Julie.
There's a lot of figures being banted about at the minute. We're hearing a lot about reserves. We're hearing a lot about spending. Councillor Kenyon's figures never seem to tally up with anybody else's figures. We're talking about 23-24 budgets. We're all in debt at the minute. So my question is, when you check the minutes back in November, you've talked about in exclusion three, the walk-in fridge freezer, 14,000. You're listening to quotes at 108,000 for central heating. You're looking at pedloads, quote for pedloads. Everything seems to be clouded into a business that's absolutely seeping losses at the moment. So why are we ploughing so much money? Why is this council not looking at freezing, suspending spending until May, and then we won't be in so much debt if there is a change of council?
Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, it is coming in February. I have got it on agenda, Julie. It's just that I tried to explain other day on people's on Facebook that we have to go on certain agendas in certain meetings. It is on the agenda, some stuff what needs to come. Although I have mentioned, I have emailed Alan today why he hasn't replied to some of my emails, and he says he hasn't got them, and I have
This is inappropriate.
And then I have found out that I have said.
There's a lot of things.
No,
Yeah.
That's in, please.
I'm sick again.
Mine is,
For somebody else.
mine's. Go on. Right, so my question is, going back to the body cam, I'm just trying to figure it out in my head. Why would you get, if the member of staff saw some trouble, why would you put that member of staff in any kind of possible danger, backlash from someone, when you've got a security person? So why would, as that member of staff, whichever one it is, it could be any of the ground staff, I'm assuming. Why would you put that person who hasn't been through any kind of?
Yeah, when I said they've got to give Becky.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, you know, I don't think Alan's saying, oh, there's trouble, grab the security camera and go over there. I think it's, oh, them over there having a barbecue, stick the camera on, go and ask them to put it out. They're more likely to put it out than someone going over without that security camera, am I correct?
Actually, there's one example, perfect example like that, where they were challenged by a member of staff to put the barbecue out, and they swore back, as you wouldn't believe. Then the security officer went over with the body cam on, and the attitude changed like that. I said, sorry, I'll put it out straight away. All on a body cam.
So it's more preventive than.
Sam's not had it acting being though, it's true.
I'm gonna have to continue to stop counting now. We need to do one question at a time. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm sorry. Sorry, there's someone at the back that hand up. Sorry. Can you speak up a little bit or not microphone?
No, I don't think it would.
Go on then.
For many years, on which we worked with people who broke the law.
Hmm.
Right, not reaching any confidence in saying that. But for a lot of people, it would have been a badge of honor, right, to be recorded on a body cam. Do you not perceive the potential, particularly if there's drugs or drink involved, right? When two members of staff walk up and not police officers saying that they're actually video recording, you not see the potential that you're putting those people at risk, right? And the other thing is, if you do get seriously hurt, you not see that the staff turn around and take legal advice, come back at anybody.
So, good question. The staff are qualified to use the cameras and have a training on it. I'm assuming there's risk assessment being done as well.
What about whether they're trained to use the camera, but whether they're trained to actually diffuse a situation?
Are they trained to do that?
No, they walk away.
They're told to walk away.
Right, basically, we've got these things, what we used to call them hobby bobbies, that they're like, the walk around thing. Nobody, no members of public take any go with them, so what do you think they're gonna do with what, in park? And I've actually served as a police officer, so
I
I.
agree, but we still have to do something about security and it's about protecting the
That
staff.
will not diffuse them, that will not diffuse them.
I think we're going into a.
What do you suggest we do?
What do I suggest you do?
Yeah.
First thing you know, we don't allow alcohol in it. Alcohol causes all the problems. When the water park first started, alcohol, as a police officer, I used to have to go down there every day because there was trouble with people drinking. Once you take it away, then you'll alleviate a lot of problems.
I think I'm okay to say that we have got the licensing agreement going on an agenda.
It's on February.
Yeah, but that will cover people drinking in the wider park.
But that will
That's
not,
illegal anyway.
yeah, like I said, that will not stop people bringing beer down. You can't.
No.
Can't.
That's the same anywhere, wouldn't it? I think we're moving way off finance here and getting into sort of those social subjects, which is not in the remit.
Can I just say, my question wasn't about
I know.
having a body cam. Mine
It was just about
the
the
actual
cost. We'll get those back to you. Any more questions?
I have another one.
You're allowed to.
On transparency and the finance. I understand that all the monthly expenditure reports are now on the website. Great, that's fantastic. But we've only got half of the equation. We need to see the income, monthly income report as well to get the full picture. I understand. They're not published on the website. Putting an FOI in place. I did that months back and I still haven't got the income. Jean keeps telling us, well, if you want the information, you have to ask Alan and he'll give it you.
I think
And
we
it's not
talked
there.
about this in the last meeting. I don't think you've seen it because the Zoom was a bit dodgy, wasn't it? But what did we agree in that meeting around the,
Well, really, it would need to with the council to, if, as a matter of course, no council's published income. People would ask them separately, but if this council wants to do that, that's fine.
so it's not in our standing orders to
No.
do that.
It's not,
So-
it's not a legal obligation either, but if the council wants to do it as a matter of policy, then it can do.
So we need to get on an agenda. So if any council wants that to happen, we need to put it on an agenda and get it voted on in the next full council.
Yep.
Full council.
Can we also put in there the quarterly reports that are
Again,
by law,
again, it's not in our
prepared
standing orders to do that, so it'll need a vote.
by- And you put that as a vote.
So- I'm not the other council here, if anyone wants to put that forward.
Because it's important, because the information that we get, say on the public, the expenditure reports, some of the figures are incorrect. You know, I can't tie them back to the quarterly report.
Okay,
So I can't see whether talking across folks.
it can be put on agenda. Thank you. I think we're 15 minutes off. Right, thank you everyone for joining us. So we just have a brief interlude now while we go into exclusions, and then as soon as we're done, we'll let you back in for the policy one.
Can I just mention, there's the gathering up at Stein Clock tonight for any volunteers. This is a thank you. So any friends and volunteers are invited.